So Hezbollah, the party of God based out of southern Lebanon, has been causing quite a few headaches recently, especially with the growing concern that the war in Israel could spiral into a broader regional or even global conflict. But in looking at their actions over the last few months, Hezbollah might not actually want a war with Israel. Now, as a little background here, Hezbollah was formed by southern Lebanon's Arab Shia community in the 1980s in response to the recent Israeli invasion and occupation of that portion of the country. Now, Hezbollah today essentially controls all of southern Lebanon and has an estimated arsenal of as many as 150,000 rockets. That's short, medium, and long-range rockets aimed at various locations in Israel, which is more than enough to cause pretty extensive damage, not just in the north of Israel, but essentially across much of the entire country, including their largest population center in Tel Aviv. Now, Israel does have substantial air defense systems, but the volume of rockets that Hezbollah has in itself would be enough, potentially, to overcome those Israeli air defense assets. So over the past few years, Hamas has become increasingly close with Hezbollah and even have established a little bit of a foothold, a Hamas foothold in southern Lebanon with some of the Palestinians living there. And in 2018, looking back to an article here, Israel claimed that Hamas operatives were moving into Lebanon to train with Hezbollah fighters, both in battlefield tactics as well as the development and manufacture of rockets and potentially missiles. Now, shifting to the ongoing conflict today, a lot of tit-for-tat fighting has been going on between Israel and Hezbollah since October 8th. So that was one day after the Hamas massacre took place in Israeli territory. And a good chunk of that, not all, but a good chunk of that is taking place in and around the Golan Heights, which Israel has occupied since 1981 after seizing it from Syria in 1967. The Golan Heights, as the name might suggest, occupies a regional high ground that overlooks Lebanon and borders both Jordan and Syria. And for this reason, this 460 square mile hilly plateau offers Israel a pretty significant strategic advantage to the northern portion of their country. Then between October 8th and November 29th, when the ceasefire went into effect between Israel and Hamas, Hezbollah and other Palestinian battalions in Lebanon conducted a total of around 69 different attacks against Israeli forces in the north. Now, a lot of these were carried out with anti-tank guided missiles. It's kind of the Hezbollah weapon of choice on the northern front, but it also included things like mortars, rockets, surface-to-air drones, loitering munitions, and even small arms fire. A lot of these have not necessarily been directed at Israeli troops, but at surveillance cameras, antennas, or other positions located in and along the Israeli-Lebanese border. But real quick, a thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Zydex. Look, Christmas is coming up. It's going to be here before you know it. Maybe you're better than me and you got all your Christmas shopping done, but for all of you who are still, kicking that down the road into the last minute, Zydex is worth checking out for some of the highest quality PCs you can get at the best possible deals. So Zydex has a lifetime warranty on parts and labor, which is good for me or anyone else that's constantly breaking anything technology. All of their systems are hand-built in Salt Lake City, and they have a US-only tech support team. Check out the link in the description to head over to their website where they got a bunch of great deals going on right now. Up to $1,000 off select PCs and up to $200 off certain laptops. But, stop procrastinating. Get that Christmas shopping done. And thank you to Zydex for sponsoring this video. But it's not just Hezbollah fighting up north. Their close ties with both Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad has allowed those two groups to have elements stationed in southern Lebanon that since October 8th have launched attacks against Israeli forces. So while all these attacks being carried out by Hezbollah against Israeli targets are kind of presented by Hezbollah as being in solidarity with the Palestinian people in response to Israel's attack on Gaza and operations in the West Bank, overall, it's been relatively restrained. I mean, we really haven't seen any of the significant rocket or missile barrages that we know Hezbollah has, right? Instead, it's been a lot of relatively smaller anti-tank guided missiles and shorter range rockets and mortars. And kind of in line with that, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah has also kind of distanced his group from Hamas's actions on October 7th. So in speaking about those October 7th attacks in Israeli territory, Nasrallah said in a speech about a month ago that they were, quote, 100% Palestinian in terms of both decision and execution, end quote. Now, it's hard to say if he's saying that, is he just giving this group credit because he's buddy-buddy with Hamas, or is he trying to distance himself a little bit by saying, look, we had nothing to do with this. Maybe it's due to the brutality of the images and the videos that have come out showing the aftermath of that attack on civilians in Israel. Or maybe, kind of what we're hinting at here, Hezbollah is not ready for a war with Israel, and they do not want to be viewed in the same light as Hamas. Then looking into that, Adam Rousselle, an analyst at Militant Wire, put together a recent piece for the Jamestown Foundation Terrorism Monitor, where he said that Hezbollah appears to be working to avoid an escalation with Israel, as this could be an existential threat to the group. Rousselle adds that Hezbollah is kind of in a tough spot right now where they have to placate the interests of their allies, both Iran and Hamas, as well as a significant Palestinian population in Lebanon, all the while not pushing the line too far to where Israel actually responds with the full might of their military. But it's not all up to Hezbollah, right? There are a couple other factors at play here. I mean, you can't entirely discount the possibility that Israel looks up north while they've got their entire military mobilized, ready for war, and are actively fighting in Gaza and says, hey, maybe Hezbollah is not as strong as we thought. Maybe we take this opportunity to, knock them back a few steps. And additionally, you've got all these militant groups operating in and around southern Lebanon, mostly under the protection and approval of Hezbollah. But there's a situation or a possibility here in the future where Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad look at Hezbollah and say, hey, you're not doing what we thought you were going to do to support our fight in Gaza. Maybe some of those groups go a little bit rogue and find some of the mini rocket storage facilities up north and decide to start, launching their own mini offensive against Israel from Lebanese territory. So overall, it's just not super clear cut, right? I mean, I would say that the evidence over the past few weeks and months suggests that Hezbollah does not want an all-out war with Israel, and it could be for a handful of reasons. Maybe they made folks believe that they were stronger than they actually are. Maybe the size of their fighting force is half what the expectations were. Or maybe, if they view a war with the Israeli Defense Forces as an existential threat to their existence, maybe, Hamas isn't worth it. Maybe to Hezbollah, the Palestinian people aren't worth that fight. But either way, as it sits today, it does look like Hezbollah is staying short of crossing that line and doing everything they can to show that they are fighting on behalf of the Palestinian people and they're standing up for their allies like Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad without going into an all-out war with Israel. But that's all I got for now. Thank you to Adam Rousselle and Daniele Garofalo for their help compiling research for this video. I'll put links in the description below where you can find more of their work. But thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time.